Hello and welcome to this tutorial on the tanker truck. In this tutorial we'll be modelling the truck. In the next tutorial we'll be doing a layout drawing of the truck. So first of all, go up to the top left hand side here, left hand corner, and you should have education license. If you don't have an education license, after 30 days you won't be able to save your work. So come and see me if you can't get the education license for some reason. Then we go over to the top right hand corner here. Click on this little down arrow next to the question mark. Go to Support and Diagnostics, Graphics Diagnostic. Click on that and scroll down to where you see Limit Effects to Optimize Performance, and make sure you have a little tick in that box. Then you can close it. Okay, when we started drawing, the first thing we do is we save before we start. So click on the save icon, and I'm going to put this in my folder that's called Year 7 Projects, and I'm going to call it Tanker Truck. Save. And then we can see it updates over here. Okay. We're going to right click on the top layer here, or the top level, and go New Component. Here's this component. We click once on it until it goes blue, click again, and I'm going to call that component Truck. Enter. It has a dot in the circle. That means truck is the active component. I'm going to go back up to Tanker Truck, right click on it, New Component. Here's the second new component. I'm going to click on that once till it goes blue, click on it again, and call that Wheels. Alright, now I'm going to be modelling in the truck component, so I need to make sure that that has got the little dot in it. So now everything I make is going to be put in the truck component because that's the active component. Alright, I'm going to start a sketch. So I'm going to go Sketch, Create Sketch, and I'm going to be sketching on this plane here. So I mouse over that little quadrant and click on it. There it is. I'm going to get my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click in the middle here so it snaps to the center. Click once, drag out, click again, and I'm going to get my dimension tool and drag that out and make that 169. There we go. 169. Enter, and I'm going to make the height 19. And then I'm going to hit U and zoom out a little bit. So that's the side view of my chassis blank. Then I'm going to get the rectangle. Oh no, I won't. I'm going to get a line tool, straight line tool, and I'm going to draw a line down the middle, but that line wants to be a construction line because it's only a guide, it's not actually part of my model. I bring my cursor down this line here on the left, and I just move it until I get that triangle. That triangle means that my cursor is now in the middle of the line that it's on. So when I get the triangle, I click once, take my finger off my button, and I just drag it all the way down until I get the triangle again. Just there, and click. Now I have a line that goes right down the middle of that rectangle. Alright, the next line that I want to make is not a construction line, it's actually going to be part of my model. So I'm going to click off construction, and just around about here I'm going to click once, drag straight down until it goes to, snaps to the center line. When it does, you will see that little square there which shows that it's a right angle. Click once, then I'm going to click again and drag it about that far. Click once and click again up to there, and click on Escape. So now what I'm going to do is go to Sketch, Trim, and I'm just going to mouse over that bit there till it goes red, and click once. There we go. Get my dimension tool, Click on this line here, drag it up. Now that needs to be 50. If I enter 50. From here to here, that wants to be 19. Enter that. And this one is set by 169 minus 50 minus 19 equals whatever that is. So that is now fully constrained. If I try and put another dimension in there, it doesn't like it. Okay, because it gives me too many dimensions. So I just want to cancel that one. Alright, cool, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to draw the circles for the axle holes. I get my circle tool, center diameter circle, and I'm going to move my cursor over here till it snaps to the center line and draw one circle. Now I can just change that circle, but I'm just going to take my hand off the mouse now and type in 8. No, I'll make it 7.5. Enter, and enter again. I'm going to right click, repeat center diameter circle, 7.5, enter and enter, right click, repeat center diameter circle, and 7.5, enter, enter. Now we've got 3 circles, but they're not constrained, or they're constrained to be somewhere along the center axis or the center line, but we don't know how far from the ends. I'm going to constrain them now. I get my dimension tool, and I want to go from the center of that circle. See, the center actually goes from black to white to this line, drag it up. That needs to be 20, enter. From the center of this one to that line, that wants to be 60, enter. And from the center of this circle to here, that wants to be exactly 25. And there we go, that's all good. I'm going to click escape, and now I can stop my sketch. There we go, excellent. Okay, now I finished my sketch, my 2D sketch. Now comes the time to extrude that to a 3-dimensional model. I can see I haven't got my grid up, I forgot about that. So now I'm just going to go to this little icon, grid and snaps, and I want to show the layout grid, but I don't want to snap to it. Okay, now I'm going to go and extrude this shape. If I just mouse over here, that all goes blue. That shows me what is actually going to be extruded. And I'm going to extrude it, I'm actually going to, well, it doesn't really matter which way we go, I'm just going to go forward. And the distance, see that's blue? When it's blue it means I can type in there. I could also type in there. Either way is fine. I'm going to type 42 and enter. Now if I hold down shift and my mouse wheel, I can orbit around like so. Great. And to get back to a view that I like, I bring my cursor up to the view cube and click on the house, and that's my home view. Zoom in and out with the center mouse wheel. Alright, so that is my chassis. I go over here, I've been building inside the truck component. If I expand that, what I've built here is a body. I'm going to expand the bodies, and that is actually body 1. I know that because if I turn it off, it disappears. I'm going to turn that back on and click once on body, and I'm going to click again, and now I can rename it to chassis. Enter. That's my chassis. Great. The next thing I'm going to do is build the cab. So I'm just going to extrude this plane here, pull it up, and can you see that now that's joined onto the chassis? This cab is joined onto the chassis. I don't want it to join on. I want it to be a separate body. It's joined because here the operation is a join operation. If I make that new body, then it creates it as a new body. The distance I want to go is 50, so I'm going to type in here 50, enter. Okay, so for the engine compartment I need to create a new sketch, and it's going to be on this face here. So I can go sketch, create sketch, or I can just get straight into it with my line tool. So it's saying which plane do I want to work on. I want to work on that plane, and I want to go from that corner to around about there. Come along, so keep your line horizontal at this stage. It'll snap to horizontal automatically. Click there, click there, and from there we're going to go to there. Escape. I'm going to dimension the distance from that line to that line, and that's going to be 5. And I'm going to dimension that point to that line is 5, and that point to that line is 5. I can stop the sketch now and extrude that shape 19. Again, it's joining this to that. So I don't want to join, I want to create a new body. And my distance, so I could put the distance in here or here, is 19. Okay. There it is, that's body 3. Click 1, again, calling it engine. Enter. Great. Last part for the actual truck part is to draw the tank. So I'm going to be drawing on that face. I'm going to create a sketch with a line on that face, but my line at this stage is going to be a construction line. I'm going to go from the center, here we get the triangle, to the center, and then I'm going to get a circle, center diameter circle. I don't want it to be a construction line. I'm going to bring my cursor over until it snaps to that center line. I want to draw not from the center, so if you see a triangle, that's not good. Okay, just around about here, but below the triangle, and draw a diameter, a circle which is about, let's say 39 mil diameter. There we go. Now this circle, I'm just going to right click and go move copy, and I'm going to get that circle, and I can move it with that arrow up and down. I want it to be just about like that, so it's got a bit of a gap up the top here, and so the circle protrudes below this line down here. And that's all good. Click OK and stop the sketch. Get our extrude tool, click on the circle that we had and drag it out. Now we could put in a distance of 100, because I know that distance is 100. We put in 100, but we're just going to do it a different way, just to try something new. And we're going to go, instead of distance, we're going to go to object. And the object is that back plane there. And that's as far as it goes. Now make sure in the operation you've got new body. There we go. Okay, so we've got this cylinder intersecting the chassis, which in real life we're not going to have. We actually need to plane down part of that cylinder. I'm going to go to modify, combine, and I'm going to select my target body, the body that I want to actually do the work on, and it's this cylinder. The tool body is the chassis, and I don't want to join, I want to cut, because I want the chassis to cut away the tank, and I want to make sure that I keep my tools. That's my tool, I want to keep it because I need it. Keep my tool. Okay, so the chassis has cut away from the tank. If I turn off chassis, we'll see that the tank has actually got a flat panel, a flat side on the bottom. Turn on chassis, that is my tank, and we're looking pretty good. Okay, so the next part of this modeling process is making the wheels. So currently the truck is the active component. I'm going to make the wheels the active component by clicking in that little circle there. Truck almost disappears. That's all good because we're working in the wheels component. Alright, first thing I need to do is create a construction plane, or tell it where I want to work. Now the wheels are actually going to have a bit of a gap between the inside of the wheel and the side of the chassis, about 1 millimeter. So I don't want to draw on the side of the chassis. I want to create a new construction plane which is offset from the chassis by 1 millimeter. So here we go. I'm going to get construct, and I'm going to go offset plane. Now it's saying select the plane that you want to offset from. So that is the plane there that I want to offset from, and the distance that I want to offset is 1 millimeter. Enter. Now if I want to just move around, I can actually see that there's a gap of 1 millimeter in there. Alright. So now when I go and sketch, I'm going to create a sketch on this plane. I'm going to be drawing on that plane. I'm going to be using these. One thing I do need to do is in my sketches I'm going to be needing these circles. So currently that sketch number 1 is turned off. I can't see it. I just need to turn it on because I'm going to be needing those soon. Alright, let's zoom in here. Get my circle, center diameter. Now I am I can snap to that. Can snap to that. I'm going to click and drag out, and I'm going to make this wheel 32 mil diameter. And now I'm going to right click and repeat center diameter circle. I'm going to go from there and make another circle which is 6 mil diameter. Great. And I'm going to stop my sketch and extrude that out this way, a distance of 12. There we go. Great. Okay. So the next bit that I'm going to do is mirror this onto the other side. To do that I need a plane down the middle of the truck. Now that plane down the middle of the truck, I actually don't want it to be in this component. I want it to be in this component, in truck component. So I'm going to activate the truck component. Just click out of it. The truck component is active. I'm going to construct a mid-plane. It wants me to select 2 planes, and it's going to put a plane in the middle of them. So that's one plane, and that is another plane. And this plane here is the mid plane that it's made between those two. Okay? Great. Click OK to accept that. There it is. Now we're going to go back to our wheels component. Alright. I'm going to create a mirror, and the pattern type is going to be bodies. The object I'm going to select now, it's going to be that one, and the mirror plane I'm going to select, and it's going to be this one. Okay, there we go. Pretty good. Okay, and let's just open this up and see what we got under bodies. So that's going to be wheel 1, wheel 2. Right, it's always good to name all your bodies or your sketches or your components if you can. Alright, and next we're going to actually draw the bit of 6 mil dowel, which is the axle that joins those 2 wheels. So we're under wheel still. We are going to create a sketch on this plane, and we're going to get our circle tool from the center just out to there. Now it'll snap automatically to 6mm because it's there already. And you go enter, turn it around and stop the sketch. Now we're going to extrude that circle that we just drew. It's going to go this way. Now we could put in an actual number, but we're actually going to go, instead of distance, we're going to go to object, and the object is going to be that face there. There it is. And we don't want to join it, we want it to be separate because it's actually a separate piece of wood. So it's going to be a new body. Okay. That last thing that we made, that last body, that was the axle. Axle 1. Great. Okay, there they are. That's one set of wheels. So we've got this one set. We need to actually copy it a couple of times, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at it from the right hand side, but we're actually in a orthogonal, in a perspective view. We want to make it an orthographic view. Alright, we're going to right click, move and copy. We're going to move bodies, and we're going to select them, but here it's a little bit difficult to select them, so I'm going to select them from here. That one, and that one, and that one. So 3 are selected. I want to go point to point. So there are lots of different ways of moving them, but I'm going to go point to point. So that is one point. When I'm actually on that little dot there, you can see the dot. One point is selected. Now it wants me to select the target point. There we go. And it's actually moved it. I don't want it to move it. I want it to copy it. There we go. So it's created a copy. Okay. Now we're going to do it again. Right click. Repeat move copy. Bodies. Select them. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 are selected. We're going to select the origin point, which is there. And we're going to select the target point, which is there, and we want to create a copy. Okay. And that's about it. We can go back to that view and we'll go to perspective, and we'll just activate the tanker truck, the whole thing. There's our truck, looking pretty good. Now we've got the that mid-plane that we created. That'll be under construction. No, it won't. That'll be under. It was under truck, wasn't it? Yep. So under truck, we should have construction. There we go. That's this plane. We can just turn the globe off, and disappears. Also, if we don't want to have that sketch on, we can turn it off like that. Collapse everything again, and there's our truck. All of those pieces are separate bodies. Great. In the next tutorial we'll be looking at creating a layout drawing of this model that we've created. Thank you very much for watching.